does have the flash. The Trample looking for the stun here.
No armor, don't forget.
Begins to open up. Driver still very healthy,
zero
even though
armor.
he hasn't built any health just because he's Sion, and he will be able to walk away. Half HP though, and with
Okay, good
Elioya on
chunk
this
though.
side of the map,
That's a good
things could
chunk.
get tricky
Any
for Driver.
divers? Any divers?
He's going to be regretting the buy now. You know, you go Swifties to obviously be able to shrug off some of the slows.
Aha, Europe might not be good at laning, but we're good at stopping the lane, so we're not laning, and then you have to lane against different players.
Early subjugate possible from Elioya. There it goes as they look
One
for
shot.
Driver under the tower.
W
No
dive.
escape. Alvaro tanks it
Big
perfectly,
dive.
and MKOI on the board.
Nicely done by MKOI. They really punished Driver over aggressive on the teleport. He didn't have to actually TP on the
Mirwin
wave
backs
there.
up.
He could have waited. You know, obviously you have to know the lane swap is possible.
I mean,
and in
Sion
those
is
situations,
dying,
you're
but he
going
is
to get
getting the
punished
gold from the
TPing like
creeps,
that.
and the
Had he
gold
TP'd
is
straight to the
also
tower,
going to
been at full health,
CFO
that
on the
dive is gonna be,
plates.
at the very least, much more difficult to pull off.
Is that dive
But
worth it?
MKOI able to
I mean,
punish,
they had
get
to do
Mirwin
it, so
out
it's
of
not
what
like if
was
they
a
had a
difficult
choice, really
1v1,
wasn't.
and are able to get the first kill on the board.
CFA
Oh yeah,
doing well on
Jojo,
the
I
other
see
side
it.
of the map, though, denying Mirwin any of the farm. Mirwin did back all the way away, not actually even trying to step up to the tower, knowing that he was undermanned on this side of the map. But you can see about a 20 CS lead for Driver in that top side. And even a lead for Doggo on the AD
Didn't want
carries,
the
at least in
grump, all
terms
good.
of farm, although he is about 150 gold behind because of that first blood from Super.
Yeah, absolutely true. I do think mid lane, though, going very well for MKOI. Of course, it is not a big CS advantage by any means, but the Azir is
Jojo's
going
going
to
even.
struggle, and CFO are going to move
I'm
their
just
bot
concerned
lane
that-
over towards mid
Nice,
here.
no
I think they
cancel.
want to be in the area for the grubs. They're going to send Azir
Mirwin
down to
is
bot.
just concerning
He will
me a
not
lot.
have teleport, but neither... Well, actually, Mirwin does. Jojo's not going to be the one to answer, so MKOI will have the potential extra man if Mirwin can look for a TP angle, and we'll see if they even want to fight this, because they are a little bit late to show up, and it's going down pretty quick.
Yeah, first grub already gone here for Junja. Alvaro and Super
That's
trying to
really
come across.
Jonas
Driver
here.
is there to
Jonas in
defend.
base.
That's like
Tunnel.
Kaiwing and
Just
Doggo.
give.
Elioya on the red buff right now. Super was looking
Almost
for
a
the steal with
steal.
the Boomerang Blade, but can't find it. CFO seem to be happy with just getting the objective, the feat of the neutral objectives there from the grubs. We'll leave one left up.
Honestly, nice bluff by the MKOI bot lane. They kind of just walked forward, and I feel like CFO was respecting a little bit too much. They don't know that Elioya is still on the red buff. They're just assuming, oh, well, if you're walking forward, the rest of your team is here.
Nice.
They didn't want to try to force any sort of fight. Junja
We
had
just
already
need
used
to
his
wait
smite,
for
of course,
Blade
so
of the Ruined
didn't want
King.
to just stay around, have that stolen away. But at the end of the day,
But
it
it's
is
like,
going to be, as you say,
let's
that
just think
objective
about it.
feat is gonna
DFO
be
have
taken,
2
but
grubs to
not gonna
1.
be able to
They
get
have
Void
first
Knights on,
Drake,
which
and
is
they're up in
always
gold.
really nice to be able to add
And
in.
they're playing Sion
Does mean
Azir.
CFO are only one objective away from having that objective feat complete. Obviously, yet to pick up any kills. MKOI currently sitting on 1. Kaiwin looking for Mirwin. Will land the Shield of Daybreak, but much ado about nothing as Mirwin can just walk away from that one.
But Trundle
Doggo
can
obviously very
ult
safe
the
as
Sion
well
in
this mid lane
fights.
to farm up. Doesn't have the
Jojo
push
can
that
match
Sivir
the
will
Sion
have
on
with the
side
ricochet,
lane,
but
and
is
Superstar
able
is
to
scaling.
farm from range if it's ever in a tricky situation for him.
That's
Yep, going to be A-OK
the good
there,
news.
Absolutely. Doggo going to continue to farm, but Super going to be happy about his position as well. Does have the call. Is going to be working in towards
rumble
that
out the
young
wave
tall,
if you're
very
scared.
likely
All
has the
good,
first
all good.
item, and is just going to be continuing to keep him kind of locked under that tower as much as he possibly can. You know, having first move there towards the sides is going to allow MKOI to be a little bit more aggressive, but
They're not gonna scale to the
clearly
airport,
feeling
shut
the
up.
pressure yet. They don't seem like they want to posture that aggressively. There is really
TP
good scaling
top.
on the other side, but
No blade on Yone
Sivir,
yet.
Trundle all scale incredibly well also. So I think
Alvaro
both teams
Alistar will
feel
carry.
pretty
You're right.
happy with
You're
what
right.
they've
He's
gotten
right.
and aren't really feeling any pressure as a result.
Right.
Yeah, I think
Just
the
let
thing
Alvaro
for
Alistar
CFO
cook.
is
Look,
they
chat,
do
I've got a
have
banana.
range advantage as the game goes
I will
longer,
eat the
so
banana.
if they scale evenly, they should be able to gate out MKOI from certain avenues of approach. For MKOI, though, they do still have the damage if they can get on top of the enemy, right?
Yeah, exactly, and I feel like they have really good ways to do that, right? You pop the Sivir ult, someone gets Trundle pillared in, all of a sudden there's the Equalizer on your head, there's an Alistar flashing in, there's the Yone ult coming through, so there's a lot of ways to circumvent those issues, but definitely I think it is going to be front to back advantage for CFO, but MKOI are going to be able to have the opportunity to circumvent that by coming from different angles, by looking for really explosive engages, and by playing through side lane with Jojo, who has that early Vamp Scepter, is going to be working in towards that Blade of the Ruined
Eat the
King.
banana to
Didn't feel
summon the
pressured
Yone
enough to
banana combo.
sidestep for
Back.
a null match mantle or anything like that, and so he is going to be kind of in a really good spot right now in that side lane. I just feel like no one is going to be able to answer that effectively in the 1v1. You're always going to need some sort of coverage for that Azir. He's going to be the one that's
Really agree with
That's
you
a dead
there.
Sion.
Elioya looking for Driver up towards the top side. Smashed how powerful he can be. Great pillar. Driver
Okay, that's a no
flash
flash
away
Sion.
will burn that summon up on the bottom side. Really much going to happen down there. But these two junglers are the two highlight players really coming out of these two. Elioya, best jungler in EU. I'd say best in the West because Inspired exists, but definitely the best jungler in EU right now. domestically not as dominant as I think he would like to be. And you look on the other side, Ginger, domestically the dominant force.
Yeah, why are you being annoying? Sion no flash.
How do you win in the LCP? Well, you sign Ginger, and then the rest kind of handles itself, it feels like. This guy has just been insane. He just wins every single time in the LCP. Has clearly been the best player in the league, just period, point blank. There is not really much of an argument around it. It's
Rumble is getting
it's
cooked.
about best player, and this guy has just been so
Oh yeah, Jojo.
so consistent.
Nice, Jojo. Nice. Good.
Forced to use the ulti defensively. This is what I'm talking
No
about.
ult on the Seer.
Next time that Soul Unbound is up, he still has the Fate Seal. He still has that ultimate, and
Hold
then
me now.
Honku is going to have to just back off, or you're going to get constantly chipped
Superstar
down.
pushes
Jojo's
mid,
gonna be
dog
healing
goes
back
out of
up off that
position.
wave, and this is why this is
Dog goes out of
considered a
position.
matchup.
He's
And
gonna
it's
eat a
good
wall.
timing as well for MKOI to get that ultimate out with
Timing
the
is
dragon
good.
being up, with CFO having already
Maybe
picked
they
up
can
the
push
first
bot
streak in
here.
the game, stopping them from getting the stack
Good
is
sequence so
always
far by
important.
EU.
Even if you scale evenly with your opposition,
I don't know
you
about
just don't
doing
wanna
it,
give them
but sure, let's do it.
opportunities
Fuck it,
to
let's see what
force you
happens.
into a fight if you don't want to take it. And by
I
getting
don't know
the
about
second
doing it,
Drake,
but let's do
you
it.
make sure that CFO can't force you into a soul point fight
Azir
too
no ult.
early. Jojo coming across the TP's come out from
Back the
Honku
Qs.
down towards that bottom side. Kaiwing with the Sun, True Shot Rush going out as well as Ginger
Easy
looks
dragon.
for the sniper, can't get it. Honku looking for the
Easy
flank
dragon.
as Jojo goes forward, flashes
Nice,
away
no flash,
from
Leona.
CFO. Ginger in with the Crescent Guard, and they
He has no
dive onto
road, he has no
Enemy.
road, he has no road, don't be scared.
So much with the subjugate and survives by flashing out. MKOI on the retreat. CFO won't find anything more.
That's a free dragon, and that's a volume
I mean,
increase.
that was Honku TPing back, dropping
That's a
away
volume
bot
increase.
lane, running straight
Clear win
to the dragon.
pressuring top as
But there
well.
were two
Big
souls
W.
on the setup. MKOI had already knocked it down. There was no ability for Junja to actually get in there for a smite seal. Yes, you get the flash.
You
out.
have
Yes,
no
get the
damage.
ult.
Shut
There's
up.
some little advantages there, but at the end of the day, MKOI got what they came for. Gonna be really happy about it.
And keeping the game even through this early game as well. Super trading onto Doggo here, who, again, it's the arcane shift of the Ezreal. You can be so much more aggressive than on other AD carries. About a 500 gold lead for CFO through this early game, coming predominantly through Driver on the top side, who still has that 20.
This is not a joke.
That
Mirwin has now finished his Liandry, so maybe that will start to swing a little bit. But
All you
Driver
need
going force of nature
is a
first
mouse,
makes
a
it
keyboard,
really
and a
hard
dream.
For Mirwin to get through it.
Yeah, going for the nature is
How
kind of
did
what
that
you do,
hit?
Rooker, and I feel like that is much more common in these matchups, so it is interesting. He clearly has this kind of approach here.
Good speed driven.
Yeah.
Boost
Wow.
swiftness, force of
Exactly.
nature.
I mean, it's very aggressive, right? You know, they are tank items, but it is aggressive. You want to be trying to chase him down, be able to stay on top.
Dream is to go
Those
home.
aggressive
No, it's
trades,
not.
But now he is
What?
going to be laning up against Jojo. And when Jojo gets the Blade of Rip King and you're on full MR, not that armor is going to help you that much, but obviously it feels not that great to have spent all this gold.
I can see the Sivir cooking. I can see it.
From base.
Oh my
Sivir
god.
looks great.
Asian moment though. But even between
That's
these two
stupid.
teams, you see Alvo pathing up towards Honku on this
Isn't that
top
the
side.
skin his depth
The
uses?
flash. Bro, looking for those
It's
gank
literally
attacks.
super
Vision
easy
control
depth.
from CFO, and Yoda
Ah,
going
yes,
down
ganks
towards
are
bots
sound
as
again.
Driver no longer has a flash of his own. Does have the unstoppable onslaught and could just walk away
Damage.
for now. Ginger coming across. Unstoppable onslaught goes in, and Yoya's going to get knocked up with the death phase. Flash subject coming out as well. As Yoya has no flash, but look at him bonking down Ginger. Crescent Guard comes out. Ginger in the middle of his own ultimate will survive. Face steal from Jojo Pun. Ginger flashes away. Jojo flashes back. But Driver gets the double.
Nicely done there by CFO. Driver walking out with a double kill as they chase in so deep.
Look at Jojo
Yoya
Pun's
has
items.
no
Look,
flash,
everyone's
so he just
eyeballs
has
on
to
Jojo's items. What was Jojo doing in bot? He was waiting for Blade on base. What did we do? We fight without Blade. What happens? We died. We died. And now look what he has. Oh, why the fuck are we fighting then?
And as a result, does get
Yone, don't do damage.
very close.
And now they've broken the stream.
One more time as jump out of that.
We could see the first 5 frames one more time. After that, it's PG-13. You're not allowed to watch it unless you have a hand
Looks
supervising
for
you.
the pro players, you know, it's just in slow-mo.
Action speeds are just out of this world. It's like
Why can't we just wait?
to-
Why does everyone have to tweak?
Slow. It's just the game's even slower.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Explains why I've never got past master.
Exactly. That's like it's a pro mode. It was slow-mo like that. Actually, I'd probably be even worse.
Yeah, so would I. All my muscle memory would be out of
But it
order.
would take like 4 hours to play a game. That would be terrible.
2,500 gold lead for CFO as they picked up the Rift Hold as well, which gave them the objective bounties that they wanted. So they've got those boots upgraded, as you say. Yeah, the top now.
Guys, we have scales, so we can scale.
Shadowing Mirwin to make sure that he couldn't clear out the wave. Now, not as comfortable in this position. A couple moments ago, 500 gold difference, that's fine. Now you're looking at 2,000 gold in the hole. First items are starting
Bro, if we
to
get
come
trioed
out,
in this series,
the sequence in the bot
the
lane
Reddit
really
comments will be
switched
like,
things on for CFO.
disband the LEC, give the slots to LCE and LTA.
There, from that missing flash,
Yep.
and maybe a bit of an overcommitment there from Yo-Yo. He kind of standing on JoJo obviously there to try to back him up. Is going to be able to just snap back. We'll see if he can actually chase after him though.
JoJo's just dead!
Yeah, we'll take Inspired back. You can have JoJo deal.
Oh my god.
You can have JoJo, we'll take Inspired back.
Will flash away from the Zenith blade, but still caught by it. Super's now running for the hills as Kaiwin continues
Super,
to chase
super,
it. The
super,
ignite down into the
super,
flash shield of
super,
Daybreak.
super.
Wind becomes
Oh,
lightning.
super.
Ginger looking for it, but
He
Yoyo
dodged
still
his
on
out
Kaiwin.
W in the stun.
Honku coming in from
And
the
he's
side as
outie.
well as Yoyo tries to get away. He's
Not
gonna have
bad,
to
that's one
flash.
back. That's
Alvaro
one
falls
back.
to the base as well.
That's one
Meanwhile,
back. There's
on
my
the
EU
bot
top
side,
laner, baby.
Driver
Cook his ass.
is absolutely decimating Mirwin, even with the equalizer down. The roar of the Slayer and the Soul Furnace. Driver brings down the axe and gets the solo bolo.
Nicely played by Driver.
I hate that.
The scrap shield there hits his auto, so he's not spending that damage into the shield. As soon as it expires, goes for it, knocks him down. They even have the Herald in the
Technically, I'm a British citizen.
Oh my
And Brexit
god,
happened, so-
you're annoying.
So what's my region?
Look at top lane also. Honku is already ahead.
What the hell?
Tier 2 solo goal off of this.
What
No
the
reason
hell?
to move
When does the
to
UK play?
respond. And boy, instead they're gonna head towards the dragon here, but it's only the second
Just
dragon.
disband Europe at this point.
Gonna get
Just disband it.
monstrously up in gold.
Just disband it.
Dazed. MKOI on the ropes right now. They're trying to find anything they can on the map, but CFO are just landing jab after jab. Driver's going to step in here. Doesn't have the unstoppable onslaught. JoJo jumps off the jump.
Wait,
The dragon
wait,
secured, base
wait,
secured.
don't disband it yet. Don't disband it yet. Wait, hold, don't disband it yet. Keep the countries.
Honku looking for that flank, solo player flashed away from. Honku needs to be a little bit careful. Decimating flash hitting the Zenith blade just short. The Rhyolites from Honku is going to get the slows down, but
Nice.
MKOI will be able to retreat to spy.
Nice.
Yeah, Honku comes in a little bit too late to really make a big impact in that fight. So he's already on 2 fully completed items, plus the
I didn't see that either.
18 minutes. This guy is ridiculously strong. And again, guess what? You get away, but no one's going to
Wait.
be able to answer a bot.
Is
More
my
solo
name
gold
Andrew?
here given over to Honku. He is getting ridiculous.
Because I'm reading into game 1 too much.
All the difference so far in these early minutes of game 1. It's a 2.4k gold lead
Oh!
for Driver in the top lane. It is 1.6k now as well for Honku in the mid lane. And it's really been the top side for CFO that is making all the difference as
Don't
bot lane
be
just
a
committed
game
Farfest. I
one
mean, Supa's
envy.
doing fine, but they haven't really been involved in much.
And Honku
I would personally say Koi lost this game.
He was 6 when Baker won his first championship and was able to stand tall.
It wasn't won by
against him in
CFO, it
the
was
series
lost by
earlier
Koi.
on this week. Now he's
Back.
showing us just how much impact he can have on this Azir as well, being 1.5k.
T1 and
ahead of
BLG
JoJo
fans are sitting there like,
and that's not
you just get trioed Koi so I can watch my teams play. No, we can't, okay? Shut the fuck up, we'll get to T1 BLG in a minute. Let us try and survive here.
Oh my god, I'm LCKLPL fan. We only made it to finals and worlds and we didn't win. I'm so sad. We can't even win a series, you fuck! Hit it! Shut the fuck up! We can't even get out of groups!
No!
Oh my god, my team only came second!
Shut up! Your team will play soon, idiot!
That gives a repeats, and every time it feels like MKOI has been ready for play, Honku has just been getting gold inside lane, getting further and
Nice.
further ahead. Then he's able to find a solo kill, a punish on a JoJo.
We
as
can't
his
even beat
ultimate
NA
was just
anymore.
going off of cooldown as
What's
he was called
happened?
out. And just building these incremental
EU international
advantages.
results in the last 6 years.
Mirwin, I'm pretty concerned for though.
Looking like my
Bumble is
solo queue
not a
account.
scaling champion.
What the
Got
fuck
very
is
far
this?
behind in the 1v1 early, and Driver has just been slamming home that advantage.
Driver's been having a whale of a time on this Scion, living up to his name.
Not whales, they're oysters.
That's going so fast,
All
no
the
one's gonna
aquatic
read that I
animals are
pray
here.
for a CFO trio.
Looking to try
Wunder
and
lol
take
on
away
Twitch,
this Artisan
verified.
army. Dongo
Okay,
jumps in.
well, it's
Kaiwing
fucking.
on a good flank position, and Honku dives in immediately with a solo player coming out. JoJo is deceased, and now Alvaro might suffer the same fate. Honku looking for that flank, isn't going to go for it. Alvaro has to pop the ultimate, and CFO will get the kill and get the Atakan as well.
Yeah, just great vision control, great placement here from Kaiwing, you know, sitting over. It is this ward that really kind of made all the difference up on that top side. You know, he sees JoJo approaching, he's in that side brush, they control the vision, he goes immediately in, Honku's there to follow up, no chance for JoJo to get anything done. And MKOI really starting to kind of lose their positioning in this game. Nearly 5,000 gold down now, you lose the dragon, so now you don't even have that soul win condition kind of in your back pocket.
But I think this is also the reason that we're so high on CFO as a team. they don't just try to fight at every opportunity. It's 8 kills in 21 minutes, and via smart map movements and good lane assignments, they have this 5,000 gold lead. MKOI obviously gifted them a little bit with that bot lane play, but that was more Junjo reacting
He's
really
Jojo
well
pure
in my
sleeper
eyes
agent.
than MKOI making too big of a mistake.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
This
I mean,
whole
they are
tournament
legitimately
scripted to make you look bad.
really good team. People have, as I said, kind of stood up and took notice of that fact, and we're looking for an engage now.
Decimating Smash won't land as Super pops the ultimate to try and escape. Elyoya in from the side isn't going to be able to find too much more, so it's an unstoppable onslaught for an on-the-hunt exchange there. And MKOI getting forced out of their jungle. Junjo looking for Jojo Pyun, who's a level behind in this mid lane matchup. Now, the more of this jungle you deny, the harder it is for MKOI to get back in the game. You can see Elyoya already about 27 farm behind. Junjo has a level advantage.
Can we
Triper
just
has
stop
2
MSI and move
on
the
that top
EWC?
side. It's going to be
No,
so tricky now
the
for
series
MKOI.
isn't over.
I mean, when you're looking at
It's
you know,
game
just
one,
looking
buddy.
at the item completions,
Relax,
look
relax.
At it. It's 2 items, 2 items, 2 items, 2 items. Over on the other side, only Supa actually has his second item, right?
Relax,
So,
relax.
it is going to be very difficult right now. I think if you're MKOI, there's no way you should be fighting, until at least you have their second item. So I feel like they should just be giving up this next dragon. It would just be the second one for CFO, so they don't have to worry about Soul too much. Try to put through side lanes, give time for Jojo to get that farm. Maybe look for picks in those side lanes, try to make cross map plays, because objective bounties are spawned. So if CFO sent everyone down to grab this dragon, and you can take the top lane tier 1, grab that bounty for Jojo, that is a very positive play for MKOI, and
What
they
does
really have to just
KOI
say,
do
you
to
know
win
what,
this game?
we've got good wave clear, we have Rumble ultimate.
Well,
if we
I'm gonna
clear
keep it
wave,
real.
we've got Sivir to
My
one-shot
Rumble
waves,
is
let's
160
sit back,
CS
farm,
at 23
let's try to
minutes,
hope that
0
we
1
can get
0.
back into this.
Just need
And
to
enemy
stall
Sion
the
has
game
5,000
as
health
much
and is
as
2 levels
possible
up.
if you are MKOI.
So we're gonna have to start by
CFO obviously
unplugging
will have
Sion's
other
keyboard.
ideas as Dogger looks for the True Shot Barrage, doesn't land through that spell shield
No,
from the
it
Sivir.
can't
The
win.
Drake's gonna be
Look
secured
at solo
by
lane
CFO.
items.
Second of the game, Chem
Look at
Soul
them.
is the
Just
name
look
of
at the
game
solo lane
in
item diff.
this one.
It is fucked.
And, I mean, will really help with later game fights if you have that extra damage reduction. Especially with something like a Sion, it's going to be so hard to get through him. I think Super really needs that Lord Dominik's regards at some point if they're going to be able to get their way through this tanky top laner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, realistically, when you're this far behind this early, the way that MKOI would win this game is that it goes really, really long, right? Like, we're looking at, you're hoping then for a 35-minute game. You're hoping that it comes down to Baron, it comes down to Elders, it comes down to those later stage fights, because I don't think MKOI is going to be in a position to take fights earlier on. Honkyu already has a large rod, grabs another Amp Tome, so he's probably going to be working towards Zonius, I think, which makes a lot of sense when you're looking over at a 4 melee team that is trying to dive. I do think Rylai's is always great tech when you are playing against this many melee champions. Makes it really difficult, and then you try to use those tools that you have to commit in, like the Yone ult, and all of a sudden he goes into the stasis. That gets kind of deflected as well, and it becomes very, very difficult then to be able to punish these long-range backliners that you have to deal with, or they will just slowly chip you down.
It's the range disadvantage we talked about from drafts, right? If CFO gets, how do you approach as MKOI? Where's
Like,
your
what
true
actually can you
engage?
do
Is
as
it just
KOI?
the Yone jumping in, equalizer into a Fate Seal.
How
to
many
try and
towers
get
have
on towards
KOI
that
gotten?
backline? And even then,
For Alvaro.
0.
I mean, Alvaro has been an absolute beast this MSI, but even this might be a little bit of a road too far.
Alvaro
As he jumps
smurfing,
onto
maybe?
Driver, equalizer onto Doggo as well.
Alvaro,
As the tramples start,
Alvaro.
As they try and turn it around, but with the unstoppable onslaught, Driver
Damage.
to distract MKOI. Should be able
Nice.
to get the Sion
Not
here.
nice.
Puts the shield
Not
down
nice.
in the end. Superstar
Nice.
chasing will
Nice.
get the shutdown. 800
That's a
gold
volume
in his
increase.
back pocket.
8.
There you go, Prey to Alvaro comes over the wall there, is able to help turn it around.
Alvaro.
And that is massive. Not only do you get a big shutdown, it goes onto your Sivir exactly where you want it, and now they can even push forward
That's
here. Maybe
an
take the
objective
tier 1 off
bounty.
the back of
What
that.
the fuck?
And
That's
just
not
like
an
that, the
objective
gold
bounty.
lead
That's bugged.
becomes much more manageable.
Not
We were
bad.
talking about 5K, now it is
We
under
rely on
3K
Superstar
here.
Sivir.
MKOI
Okay, I see
feeling
it.
so
I
much
see it.
better now.
Okay,
And Supa's
I
going to have
see
a
it.
ton of gold in pocket. He may have a third item here very shortly.
It's just such fortunate timing for MKOI. Obviously, CFO step up a little bit too far on that top side, but look at how much vision there was for CFO on this side of the jungle, and none for MKOI. Baron was about to spawn. If CFO had delayed it a little bit, they could have got the Baron relatively safely. Now they're going to look for it as a bit of a sneak attack. Mirwin coming in from the side,
We
doesn't have
sniffed
a
that.
ward on
We
his
sniffed that easy.
warding totem, it seems.
Right.
Alvaro's going to walk forward here as well, and CFO will disengage the big purple worm.
Can Super
Yeah,
base?
they
He
did
has a
throw
lot
the
of
blue
gold.
trinket down, so they were able to spot it. CFO
Super,
not
can you
willing
press
to
B?
just
Can you press
stand
B?
and fight there.
Hello.
Of course, it would be incredibly risky. I like the attempt at a two-man, though. They didn't really lose much by going for it. Maybe a little bit of tempo.
How did
maybe
we get
lose a
one
wave.
fucking
But hey,
flower?
risk versus reward, that is very,
29?
very good, because Junja and Honkyu can
One
absolutely
fucking
knock
flower.
that down.
One.
Had they not been responded to, so they go for it. doesn't work out, but still going to be playing for Vision in this area. You can see that they're trying to push up through that top lane and then just maintain control over that topside jungle that you've been highlighting to really make things difficult for MKOI. They're constantly going to be having to try to play through this area, try to reclaim Vision, but they're getting poked by the Azir, poked by the Ezreal every time you walk forward, which can make things really tough.
Doya has to flash the Solar Flare. Didn't know where the rest
Look,
of CFO
severe
were.
items. Let him cook.
That's, again, the vision control. You have no wards even in the
Let him cook
superficial portions of your own jungle. You have to flash, not knowing where the rest
Let
of
Sivir
CFO
cook.
could be. Lord Dominic's regards now finished for Super on this Sivir. Will still take him a while to work his way through the
I wish the
Slayer, who
cameraman
has
could just press a
1,000
button and we
stacks
could watch
on
Sivir
that Roar of the
POV.
Slayer.
Really will, but he's the first to 3
Super
completed
Pro
items
View.
in the
Show
game.
it to me
So,
now.
you know, got a good 800 gold injection from killing off Driver, and now he becomes a real threat here. You can try to play around Supa. And unless they get Baron, you are never killing a tower in Supa's face as long as MKOI are around to actually
It's the
defend him,
classic
so in case you get
European
one shot on a
strat.
dime,
When
he
Maokai is
going
out,
to
pick Sivir
obliterate
and
many
farm.
waves. You need to have those Baroned up minions to be able to actually push in his face. So that is going to be difficult. The Hongq, very close to the Zhonya's now, has his Seekers completed, so that is going to be a big playmaking tool. And I think we're going to see CFO just continue to show up to objectives, go to that next dragon here in 1 minute, and really look to force MKOI to come and
No
fight
random
before
wins
they're
up.
ready.
He bought it.
CFO will be regretting giving up one of those early Drakes to MKOI, because this could have been sole point for them, or the soul for them if they had managed to get one of those earlier objectives. For now, though, it will only be sole point. MKOI can give it up if they want, although they might be feeling a little bit more confident with 3 items finished on Super. Jojo's on his way to his IE as well. Wonder how far away he is from that, just lacking the pickaxe and the combined gold. 2 items as well for Mirwin on that top side, Bloodletter's Curse and the Leandry.
Blue Orb,
Very
now.
slow for the Rumble. He's been put behind quite substantially in this game, but can still do a lot of work on the backline as Hongq and Driver.
Blue Orb, now they're two-manning it. Hey! Hey!
Yeah, and they haven't spotted this yet. Junja is
They have
showing up
spotted it.
mid
They
lane
got a
intentionally.
vision plant.
Kaiwing is trying to zone them out, say, hey, we're not on it, we're not on it. But
Nice
he's gonna
first
be spotted
target.
now.
Chill,
Avro
chill,
goes in,
chill.
Kaiwing stunned
Chill,
up.
Sivir, Sivir,
For the Soul
Sivir.
Flare,
Jojo,
double knock,
Jojo,
Seal's gonna land onto
Sivir,
three as well.
Sivir.
The
Rumble,
equalizer comes down,
Yo, with the
it's
pillar.
Super.
Looking for Driver.
Untouched
Gets
so
killed
far
on.
through this
Alvaro
fight.
Q flashes right onto Hongq. Hongq
It's a
is down.
double for
Double
Mirwin.
kill.
Driver
Over to
falls
Rumble.
through shot
Big
barrage.
Ezreal. Does
Not
damage
going
damage.
to do too much as MKOI is still very healthy. Ginger, Hongq, and Doggo have to try and
miss.
hold on to this, because otherwise MKOI will be
What
looking
if we
at
do
that
Baron?
very greedily.
I think they definitely could be looking at
Where
it, but
is
the safer play is obviously
What if we don't
the
do Baron?
dragon. Just go down
Okay,
there, move
okay, let's do
yourself
dragon.
the soul point now. So great play there from MKOI.
Okay, that's big.
CFO kind of
Alvaro
over-forcing around
kind
the
of
Baron, but
frying
keep
there.
going
He
back to
stopped
it. I like
any
the
damage
first
coming out of
attempt. There
CFO.
wasn't much to risk, but this time they were very aggressively forcing it. They were
Jojo
showing Junja
also
mid
kinda
and
frying.
having Kaiwing
Guys,
walk
hit
into
the
the
dragon.
jungle
Fuck
saying,
the
hey,
crab.
no one's on the Baron.
What
The
if they go-
support is
what if they
here,
go
the
Baron
jungler's
from
there,
base?
No
Hello.
one's doing it. But they did kind of get
Good,
themselves into a
Alvaro,
position
first
where
target.
they're losing a lot of
Jojo's
HP to
back.
that Baron.
Now watch
Hongq was
Alvaro.
already missing
Watch
a lot of
Alvaro.
HP.
Watch him.
Kaiwing was
Well,
pushing
Mo
so
comes up.
aggressively, and he just goes down
Wait,
without
wait,
being able to do
wait, wait,
anything.
wait.
Loses the flash. Junja is
Q
very
flash Azir.
isolated. And look at this engage
Azir's
here from
out the fight.
Alvaro. Who
Beautiful.
else but him?
Good stuff.
Flashing in onto the Azir. Yes, he gets scooped away, and Hongq lives. But it's about making sure.
Hey,
Hongq
they're on it
has
again.
no
Round
time,
2.
and
Now.
They're just doing the Baron again.
It's just rinse and repeat here for CFO.
Now.
Maybe hoping that the ultimate's
Now.
not being up on MKOI.
They keep
will
doing
give
Baron,
them an
expecting us to
an
not think that they're
advantage
doing
in the
Baron.
fight.
Think
Alvaro
about it.
chunked out a little bit.
They're doing
Baron
Baron.
down to 10,000. Jojo
We
not
know now,
here,
you can
Kaiwing
stop.
sitting on the
Hello.
blue buff, is gonna teleport across.
You're on
as he
Baron,
secures
we
that
get
for
it.
MKOI, but that balance down to 6,000
You can back
HP.
away.
Jojo looking for that base seal, doesn't have
Alvaro.
it. While
Pops you.
Alvaro goes in.
Doesn't pop you,
get
doesn't
the
have ult,
knock-up,
dies.
and Alvaro's down. Doggo gets the kill. Junja still sitting
Yo,
on
yeah.
that Baron. It's only a 5,000 HP though. Face seal about to come back
What
up
if
in 9
we
seconds time. Equalizer still available.
give the
Subjugate's
Baron?
still available.
Huh?
The Hunt coming
Thoughts?
back off cooldown as well as Alioya steps up, but Doggo
the
untouched
Sion.
so far. Driver's been subjugated as Jojo Pune looks for the
Oh,
Sion.
Jojo
Baron secured,
gets an ult
face seal
on the
onto
Sion.
the backline. The Equalizer
Super.
doing a little bit of work on
Gets
Kaiwing.
flashed on.
Junja now dashes in.
Kites
Crescent
it.
Guard coming out. Junja
No flash sins
will
out.
survive through
Mirwin.
it. Mirwin knocked
Yeah,
up with an
stop.
estimating smash. And Doggo comes in for his second kill of the fight. It's Hongq actually secures it in the end. MKOI forced away the Baron for CFO.
I honestly can't believe that even worked. We just saw Junja just stay on the Baron the entire time. He basically is soloing it down in the midst of this fight here. You know, after they'd killed off Alvaro, he just is very determined to be able to knock it down. They do eventually get it. MKOI don't get over there to actually interrupt him. You can see Alvaro was missing his ultimate, and that was such a key part of this fight. As he goes forward, he's just going to go down in a hurry. A great ultimate from Kaiwing over the wall, did stun up Jojo. He's forced to flash out of there. Alvaro is trying to kind of body block and create some space for his mid laner, but it means that he dies. And then I'm just watching Junja throughout this entire fight. You know, he is staying up in the pit here. throughout everything. And Elyoya is going and looking for this fight over on a doggo, but if Elyoya is here, you can obviously just finish off the Baron, no problem. I feel like MKOI should have tried to force their way in, push Junja off of the Baron. Instead, they were looking to chase after Doggo, looking to chase after Honku, but they're so mobile, and when you're trying to force your way through that tight corridor, Driver is going to create such a problem for you. Kaiwing is going to create such a problem for you, and you're trying to walk through the Azir soldiers with, you know, Rylai's and all of the damage that's coming out. It just felt like it was a bit mismanaged there from MKOI, and as a result, CFO get the Baron, get the kill as well. I mean, look at the poke that Doggo was doing.
Absolutely shredded through MKOI. Elyoya trying to trade with Junja. There's a solar flare down as Doggo opens up again. Elyoya forced down to a 3rd HP. The damage from Honku as well across the wall means that CFO can just walk right into this space. MKOI now 5,000 gold behind after only a couple of minutes ago being within 2k.
Azir is fair and balanced.
Bottom side. MKOI
Very
will try and defend through mid, but the tier 2 at least is gone as Driver raises it to the ground. A 6,000 gold lead and 4.5k off this Red Bull Baron.
It's natural that they lose this game against Azir. Very understandable.
Baron down. Supa, of course, still wave clearing really, really well, working in towards that 3rd item. Ai's done now for Jojo as well. Honku, though, big concern. He was able to not only finish the Zonias, almost has his death cap now. We are still looking at a potential for Soul for MKOI here. So yes, you're down 5.5k, but if you grab Soul, you know, that's 4,000 odd gold worth of stats. So there are still going to be opportunities. We'll see if they can actually find a good way to set up, because when the luxury items start coming through for those teams that are ahead, it gets really, really difficult. You know, my eyes are drawn to things like the GA being done, like the Zonias being done, that are going to make it that much more problematic for MKOI in these fights, because now all of a sudden Junja could just throw himself into the backline, just make his job keeping Supa out, and as long as Supa is not actually hitting, well, it's going to be really hard for you to out DPS what Honku and Doggo are going to be putting out.
Yeah, it's really about whether MKOI can get onto that backline while Supa is distracted. If Jojo can get a good ultimate off into an Equalizer or Equalizer into ult, you have 3 items on both of those carries. They are still going to do damage to a backline. They're just not that good at working their way through.
How many items can we get on Sivir before we actually have to fight again?
To do that. Drake up in 50 seconds time. No vision outside of their base for MKOI right now, as Honku's caught a little bit.
Oh,
Snaps back to reality in that top lane.
No,
trade of ults at the end of the day there, Jojo. I think kind of predicting that Honku was going to maybe slide back to the side there. Guess is wrong, ends up kind of using the ulti for nothing because he'd already gotten the ulti out. Of course, the other option here for MKOI is you don't even have to go to this dragon, because
it'll
it's
be
not
a long
soul for your
series.
opponents
Don't
either.
worry.
You can just allow it
So
to go
you
to
can
3-3.
walk your
You
fish
say,
if
you know
you
what,
need to.
great, you
chill
killed
out.
Inhibitor, but we're just going to be farming
yet.
super minions and picking up that gold, trying to wait for those more important objectives. Wait to try to come out of your base around that Baron time, or potentially even, you know, at Soul or Elder. And we'll see, though. They're looking for an engage. Whoa,
what?
Nice Baron.
Pillar bounced him back
made him
into
bounce?
the tower. Oh,
that was very strange. I've never seen that interaction. I thought normally you just gotta slam into the
that's
pillar and
gotta
stop,
be a that's gotta be a remake, right?
That thing like a pinball.
Fast and Furious 2.
Thoughts?
That one. Was it 3?
I think they should change the format as well because of that.
It's about family. That's all that matters.
Family.
As CFO
no, G2, come back. We'll give you one more life.
6 Drakes taken so far in this game.
Making it their family if they killed it.
BT for Sivir.
Love hurts. Love hurts, you know?
Not that much, brother. I don't know what your Thanksgivings are like.
I live in Berlin, okay? Anyway, it's still it's a 4,000 gold lead for CFO. MKOI were able to pick up a few bits and pieces here and there to get themselves onto a slightly more even keel. Something we have seen is that in the early game, CFO's map movement, really solid. They played the map really well. But then through the mid game, through like 25
Koi will win this game.
minutes, they haven't had as much impact on the map. They haven't been able to push through side lanes as much. Part of that is they're just really grouping up to try and play around this Baron, but also means that MKOI don't have too many prongs of attack that they have to defend against.
No, it's absolutely true. And, you know, I do think, you know, partially it is that they're grouping up a lot, trying to kind of force on objectives.
We are EU.
Yone's a big threat in the side lane, right? And if you do not have your ultimate here, you don't want to be anywhere even near him. And once you use that ultimate, you basically have to base. Every single time, you know, Honku forces that out, he is not going to stay around because he knows there could be an all-in play. They don't have a good match for Jojo in the side lane, so MKOI are trying to do this kind of 1-4 play where they're trying to make sure, okay, we're not giving up too much on the other side, but we're buying time for Jojo. We're getting this pressure from him out on that map, and you can see again, he is going to be the one pushing out bot lane, now moving over to try to help with this blue buff, and they're just trying to get as much gold in the pockets of Jojo as they possibly can, working towards that 4th item.
There's also, I think, 2 more waves of super minions on that bot side in terms of when the inhibitors can come back
more
up.
items.
The Rabadons now
Look the CS on Jojo
so
Pune. Look the CS on Superstar.
Jojo Pune can just push out one,
More
maybe
items.
two more waves and
Don't look at
really
Myriad's
deal with
items.
any
Don't
of
look
that
at
side lane
no,
threat that could
no.
happen while
Just look at
both
other
teams are
areas.
posturing around a Baron. That's
Here we
up
go,
now.
stepping up on mid wave.
MKOI setting
Baron's
towards
up,
the
fight
bottom
over
side
vision.
of mid.
Love
Jojo
to see
looking
it.
for flank position
Alvaro
himself,
flash
but
up.
can't quite find it.
Ready to make a play.
Super finishes BT, so
Jojo
both
Pune
not gonna
over the
be much
wall
of
on
an
a
issue
ward,
for
gonna
him.
get caught, maybe goes to the
Oh,
U. My god, it's the fabled banana combo. It's the fabled banana combo. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. That means he's been watching Casual Bot. Now he takes the fight. Julia goes in. Super's gonna be alive.
Equalizer back down. Jojo going back in.
Oh yeah, look
at
at
Hongqiu back, and he just delivers them. Here you go, CFO. 4 coins on a silver platter. Jojo the last man standing, but Hongqiu just sweeps them away.
Alvaro betrays the team there. Thought he had a pick onto Hongqiu, but just ends up delivering him onto the head of Supa. Thank you very much. He'll take the ultimate, and he's going to take game 1 as well.
Some delicious sushi there for the Flying Oysters. Pretty dominant performance all round from the LCP's #1 seed. MKOI left rattled, left battered and bruised, as CFO have shown. They're not here to
What the
lose,
fuck
they're
was that
here to
Alistar
play.
headbutt?
Strong game 1 performance here from CFO. Drafted heavily for scaling, wanted to play this front to back style.
Wait.
We're able to get it done. For MKOI though, it's got to be a bit of a frustrating game. I think, you know, it's down to
Don't be game on
execution.
Andes, shut up.
We'll
Don't be
see,
game on
you know,
Andes, go
if
next.
the Destiny
Also, this
thing
whole
actually
talk
better
about
in the second game.
seafood, this is Friendly Fire. That's an oyster, but that's a koi as well, don't forget. That's Friendly Fire.
I almost beat Faker 2 days ago. Who the hell are you? I'm just gonna stomp you right into the ground with my Azir. And overall, I think
That
sovereign
was
performance from
suboptimal,
CFO,
if you ask
and,
me.
it's
That was
started
a
really
little
early
bit
in that early
suboptimal.
game, right? They kind of got absolutely everything. They got their cake and they ate it too.
And it's a reminder that Junja, even on Xin, doesn't need to just be ganking people and finding kills for CFO to be able to snowball a lead, right? They got early objectives. I think they got better lane setups. They put MKOI in a position where they try to force a dive topside, and in the meantime...
Don't let Alvaro's headbutt distract you from what Jojo also did.
It's almost more devastating.
That was
and it's something
disgusting.
that MKOI being so far behind
There was
in that
2
early game match
criminal suspect double agents activated right there.
We're talking about this off screen, right? But
And it's
I
very
watched
sus that
you
one of them is from
yesterday,
NA.
Sure.
Unfortunately. And I'm just
That's all I'm saying.
MKOI today, and I understand the idea behind
That's
giving
very
up some
odd.
of these early objectives to your enemy, knowing that you're working towards your item spikes in your fights. But it
I'm
seems
being
like
told
every
Jojo
time
will save
EU
us.
has given away everything and the kitchen sink to the point that they only have
Brother,
one
he
small
can't even save his
window
ult.
in which they need to get back in the early game. Is that a wrong read?
I think that there are situations where that's true, but I think the biggest thing here is that both of your solo lanes end up weaker on side.
Yeah.
Jojo dying solo is a very big deal, and if your Yone isn't stronger, you don't get...
What is it?
Que tenemos que holdear, el inhibidor deberíamos recuperarlo pronto.
Sí.
Bueno, pronto, 2 minutos y medio.
Ah, como decía Canecro, ahora el tema es el Nashor, ¿eh?
Wait, you're right.
It's an individual player fumble.
What the fuck?
Exactly. I mean,
Speaking of.
it's one of those things where it was like looking fine. Hell, even Koi stole one of those dragons, but my focus was just how they were getting dominated in every individual lane or the 2v2s. So for me, our HyperX reflex replay is
Okay, so there is also another sleeper agent on Koi.
in this case.
Yeah, I mean, try
Look at Rumble's flash.
I mean, he's put in to play this Sion. They try to gank him 2 versus 1. He says absolutely
And you might think, wait, that's weird. He must have accidentally misclicked his flash. He must have accidentally misclicked his flash. And you might be right. But let's go back and enhance the footage. I take you to the loading screen. Let's watch Rumble's flash.
And sadly, well, that was terrible. It just gets worse.
Yeah, delivering Jojo into the turret, but then also just following through, flashing to get the autos off. Like Hongqiu gets it. 30 seconds later, you see this 1v1 happen
Watch.
too. It was just a really horrific early game.
You see a graphic, you come out the graphic, and it's gone. He's secretly flashing when the camera's not looking. My mid laner's missing ults and my support's feeding the
but I
fights.
think he can look up to Driver as well because he played this all phenomenally. And can we just talk about Hongqiu? I mean, his 18th birthday, the day before he was set to play T1 and Faker.
I will
he
keep-
has a breakout performance.
I will
Everybody
keep
knows
looking
his
for
name.
more evidence
And he's absolutely not
that
gonna start
NA
now,
has found a way to
specifically
rig
not
this series.
versus, apparently, an LEC sexy mid lane.
And we will see in game 2 that this is NA's
He's
fault.
playing well again. It's that he's playing even better.
Yeah.
This man
I
is
go
a
toilet.
force to be
I mean,
reckoned
JoJo
with.
isn't Faker.
Well, and the other thing is like he got so much support and setup in the previous games from Junja, early kills, etc. He didn't get early kills. He just outplayed individually.
He was playing well in lane. Those solo kills that you saw on the top side was great. And then, of course, you got the food delivery system named Alistar, just being able to send him in for the 4-man fight. Like, I think HonkQ has been stellar this game.
And I think for JoJo, like, those missed TS at the beginning, maybe it got in his head. But game 2 is not going to give you the case.
Cameron was on
He's
it for
going to
too
get
long.
every single one of them.
I wanted to stop watching it at some point.
Dracos.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is MKOI still had angles of attack after the game. Despite how terrible the early game was, they had opportunities to come back, and we saw 28 minutes. They still were able to find a favorable fight. You can see the vision of this composition come together, and you can certainly see the power of the Trundle pick against a very standard double tanky front line in the Leona and the Sion. This is the dream. You start favorable, setup. Yes, there's a little bit an advantage of CFO, but overall it's super, super close. And the big thing to see here is that Elyoya is able to run rampant, Frontline's able to get in, and HonkQ and Doggo don't really have the base that they need to do damage. But the problem is, this was a one-time thing, because as we jump ahead to the next fight, if we take a look at the setup, this is where we learn very quickly why they need that side lane pressure, why they need that setup. Now, this is going to start a bit unfortunate to pick on Albert, but the thing I want to highlight is the range discrepancy. Sion gets to hit all the way here. Sivir can't walk up. Azir can constantly threaten from the side. Kaiwin can engage. And also, as we see Ezreal start to come in, there's no way for MKOI to hit backline. In a perfect world, Sivir gets run through to Meat Grinder. You have your beautiful setup. It all comes together.
this?
So as we play, what you're going to see is, yes, it starts with a pick. They try to fish for an angle. But as long as Doggo and HonkQ aren't under threat, it does not matter how tanky Elyoya is on this Trundle. Supa is the one who needs to auto-attack, and he doesn't have any space to do it. And even if it's on a weakened Sion, if HonkQ and Doggo are still completely free in this fight, it will not matter.
No, and CFO also, I want to say, played it out very, very well. I mean, Junja also says, I'm getting this objective no matter what. I love how steadfast he was there as CFO just plays it out. And I think this was kind of the death blow, the deathly blow, I want to say, even though there were some opportunities after.
Yeah, I mean, just even the first replay that you were showing, like, that was just like Kaiwing moving up a little bit too quickly and then getting converged on. This one was just beautiful from CFO. So I want to see this again and again. They won't get the Azir, but I think their setup and objectives are quite nice.
It is terrifying when the jungler just gets to solo take the Baron and you essentially lose.
I'm gonna need everyone and everyone to lock the fuck in and shut the fuck up. Don't forget, you can't win games in a series that you're predicted to lose game in without losing games.
That loss, very personal and very, very, he took that in a very harsh way, I'm gonna say that, right? They all felt very guilty themselves, and this is not the game you want to be starting.
What I mean by that is some of you might have predicted, I think Koi is gonna win 3-1. That 1 is a loss. They have to lose to get the 1. They lost, there's the 1. Now you can shut the fuck up.
Shake it off, but it seems that we see a longer series where he used yesterday. That's not much to ask, is it? But CFO are in the driving seat, thanks to Driver.
Some guy links me a stat and says, look at this. Top lane damage versus gold per minute, MSI and Baus. Baus gets the most gold per minute and is the 4th highest damage. Keen gets the least gold per minute and is 575. Mirwin and Broken Blade and Flandrake. Bro, this doesn't make any sense. How does this make any sense? Floran is getting the most. This is because of his Jace game.
Made of this, who am I to? Pentakill.
Yeah, I saw the Dom tweet chat, I saw it. Hunk, you might want to move LR to LTA South, not only do you get a chance at Worlds, but you also get out of T2 scene of a wildcard region. Bro. How are we gonna get all 5 of the boys into LTA South without breaking the import rule? What is Baus gonna do? He's gonna have to rename to like Bausinho? Like, bro, it's not gonna work. We can't get in there.
No.
What, do we just get Baus, rename the Baus, him the Bausinho, and then give him the fucking R9 haircut?
You fucking idiot.
Crownaldo? Oh yeah, that works.
Whoa, I was not looking.
Baus with an R9 haircut does sound fucking legendary.
Okay. We'll stop here.
That sounds fucking legendary.
Legendary.
No, next game will be much better. I'm sure of it. Next game will be way better.